Make this classic thick pot holder. This creates the thickest square with 2 layers to make it heat resistant. And we're going to use the single crochet stitch worked in the round, and it makes it easier for a beginner to master as a great first project. Don't worry if you don't know how to work in the round yet. This is working in the round, just going in a circle continuously. And if you have wanted to work in the round, but you're not ready to start trying to make those little small crocheted animals, this is a perfect project because you can use this in your kitchen at home. So I'm going to show you how to do that today, and we'll fold it and we'll stitch it up together and make you your first thick pot holder. Join me today and we'll do this together. Welcome to Good Knit Kisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches. For written instructions, please click down in the video description below to go to our blog. You can also get an ad-free PDF as well on our blog or on Ravelry and Etsy. And we do have right and left-handed video tutorials, so if you're not in the right one right now, please click down below and get that link. And then we do have a slower tutorial for single crochet if you need the help, and those are in our How to Crochet lesson series, and we do have right and left-handed on there. It goes slow and even has slow motion. So you're going to gather your supplies. We're working with our crochet hook and yarn that's appropriate. You do want to use a cotton yarn or a wool. I usually use a cotton, and I like to use this mercerized 24/7 cotton from Lion Brand. It's a 100-gram ball, and you only need 1 ball. And I'm going to be using a 4.5mm hook today. This one is a G plus from Furls, or you can use a US 7 or G hook. Also, I am using American terms, and I am crocheting this right-handed. My left-handed video will just be flipped, but I try not to say right or left-handed in those videos so it's easier to follow. You will need a tape measure for measuring something later on. It's not necessary mostly, but if you want it, you can have it. And then of course, scissors and a tapestry needle for weaving in tails later. And you will need a locking stitch marker, something to keep up with your beginning of your round, to keep track. And that is it. So grab your supplies and we'll begin. All right, let's begin. We're going to start with our slip knot. I just wrap my tail around my finger twice and take the back loop over the front once, back loop over the front again, up and over the tip of my finger to create a slip knot, or make it however you like. Place my hook in and draw that up, and we are going to create a chain. We're going to chain 47, or an odd number of stitches for this one. You can make it an even number, and the way your stitches lay in your project will just look a little bit different than mine. So go ahead and chain 47. I'm going to make mine a little shorter just for sample purposes. So pause your video, and when you reach that point, we'll meet back up. All right, let's begin with the foundation round. We're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook into the first loop. So go ahead and do that. So we're going to skip this chain that's on the hook and the very first chain. We're going to go into the next one, just that very first loop there, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and that is your single crochet. Now for a second, let's take time to pause. I'm going to hold my hook here, and I'm going to get out my locking stitch marker, and I'm going to put this on here because it may be helpful to you if you're new to this and you want to see where that beginning chain is, because we're going to come right back to the other side of this later on. So from right where you put that in, you can just put a stitch marker right through that part right there. That little V-shaped stitch is the top of your single crochet. So you can put that there to mark the beginning. Okay, so now we're going to single crochet in the next loop out of all of these chains. So you're going to end up with an even number of stitches because our first chain that we skipped isn't going to count. So you're going to have 1 less than you began with. We're going to go through the next one, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a single crochet. Next one, single crochet. Go all the way down across this chain until you have 1 stitch remaining. Pause your video and I'll meet you there. Again, if you want a slow motion video, we do have that tutorial for single crochet down in the comments or the video description below. All right, see you at the end. All right, I got down to the end. I have 1 stitch remaining, and I'm going to single crochet 3 times into that stitch, and that will complete my foundation round. So it's 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so we're not going to chain or turn anything like that, and we're not going to flip it over. We are going to move on to the next round, round 1, and we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. So we just continue rotating this around, and we're going to mark the top of our stitch with a locking stitch marker. So if you didn't use one before, this is where you're going to use one now. So I'm going to go ahead and take that stitch marker out that I used, and you can see where that just came out. So we're just simply curving this around and joining it with, well, we're not actually joining it. If you were going to join, you would actually just slip it to it if you've ever done that before, but this time we're actually going to be going and stacking the next round on top, so it's a continuous circle. So here we go. We've started a single crochet and going to yarn over and pull through 2 and go on to the next round. So before I do that, I'm going to just pull a big loop up, get my stitch marker, put it through both of those stitches there to mark the beginning of the round, and then now I'm going to continue on. So we're going to go through the next stitch over, and we're going through both loops here, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2, and that's a single crochet. You can change this pattern up and make it your own by going through the back loop for all of them, or the back loop and then the front loop only, you know, for a little bit different of a look. And if you consistently do that for all the rounds, the fabric on your outside or your inside is going to look a little bit different than what mine does, and that's okay. So there are other patterns out there that do that. I just want to simply show you how to do it the most simple way and consistent in single crochet, and that's what this one looks like. So as you continue going around and around, it's going to grow on you. And I'm going to show you my other sample to show you what it looks like as it gets bigger. If you want to lengthen or shorten your project, you just start with a shorter or longer chain. And I'll show you what this one would look like. Let's pull over my sample. All right, so here is my sample that I had started. You can see how long it is. This is just, I actually started with 27 stitches on the smaller one, but here is my pot holder that I've already begun with 47, and you can see it only went to about here. So my pot holder is actually going to be about that big. And as you keep going, it's going to look like this. It's just going to continue in around like this, and you're just going to keep going round and round and round until you get to your desired length. So for the next part of this pattern, you're going to be repeating round 1 until your piece measures about half of the length of your starting chain. So this length here, it's going to be half this distance, or in this case, it's going to be 5 inches. So if you want to get out your measuring tape, you can measure this distance here and figure out what the halfway point is, and then measure up here and then stop. Or for if you're using my hook and yarn that I'm using, I've got about 5 inches, and if you're on the left-handed video, it's going to be flipped from here, but it's about 5 inches, and then you're going to stop. Okay, so work that, pause your video. When you get to that point, we'll see you here. Okay, so I've done about 26 rounds or 5 inches on this pattern, and for the final round you're going to end about the halfway point, and to see that point we're going to shape the rectangle into a square. So we're going to take our pattern and open it up so it's about halfway where it is here. So look at your beginning chain and kind of mark that point. That's what I'm calling the halfway point, and then pull it out at both sides, open it up like that, and fold it, and it creates a square. All right, and then you're going to see how these come together, how close they are. If they're really far apart, you're going to want another round or two. If it's overlapping, you're going to want to pull out stitches. you just simply pull on your yarn to pull it out to get to this, what I'm calling a corner. Okay, so this corner right here isn't quite made just yet, but that's where it will be. If you're not quite sure yet, another trick is to get your measuring tape out. And it may look like it's a certain width here, but it might look a little skinnier in another spot. So you may have to just push your crochet back and fold it down and see if you actually really have, mine's right, but earlier I thought it was right and it was more like this, and I was a little skinnier on one side than I was on the other. So just keep going. You can use this measuring tool to see if you have approximately the same width and length, and then you'll be at the right point. So once you know you have the right amount of rounds, we're going to begin joining these. All right, let's start the join. To join, we're going to make sure it's shaped back into that square. If it's not already, take out your stitch marker. You don't need that anymore. And we're going to join these two sides together by slipping the stitch. So I'll do that with you. We're going to insert our hook into the back loop of one side and then the back loop of the other side. So go into the very next stitch in the back loop only. So we've got a loop on the front, a loop on the back. We're going to go through the back. And then we're going to go to the back here. You can ignore, see, you've got the stitch where it came out of, that was where your hook originally was. Ignore the stitch behind it. It's just too difficult to get to, and it'll be okay. Go to the next one, and we're going to go through that back loop there. Yarn over, pull through that back loop, pull it through the front loop, and also pull it through our first loop. And now we have joined that first part together. We're going to do that again. Go through the back loop at the front here, go through the other side in the back loop, and yarn over and pull through all three loops. 1, 2, and 3. And that's it. You're just going to continue repeating, going through the back loop on both sides, pulling through all three loops to join until you get to the other end. Pause your video and I'll meet you there. All right, we've made it to the other end. I've got it flat here and you can see what that seam looks like. And if you don't like slip stitching, you can just whip stitch through, but I really like how this ends here because you can make a choice at the end now that you've got it down here. It looks like I have one more stitch left, and you can go through this last stitch and slip to join, and then after you do, go ahead and cut the yarn, pull through, and weave in your tail and be done with it. But if you want to add a loop for a hanger, because a lot of times people like having a hanger, then you're going to skip to this part where you make a loop. So let's do that now if you want to make a loop. Again, if you want to stop it now, you can just pull this out, cut, and then weave in that tail. So let's go ahead and we're going to chain 15 and make a loop. So chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is about halfway up on our loop. This is about how long the loop will be, and it'll close in a little bit. You can make it smaller if you want. We've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And now we're going to slip to join. Okay, so come down here. And then slip to join. Okay. And I'm just going to turn mine over because I like to work in this direction. And you can single crochet into that space there and make 20 single crochets all the way around. So let's get this out of the way and pull up a loop and yarn over and pull through for a single crochet. Go insert into the big loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, this is the 3rd time. 4th, 5th. If I'm going too fast, again, you're putting your hook into this big loop, yarn over and pull through a loop from your working yarn, yarn over, pull through both loops, and you've got your single crochet. So continue all the way around until you have 20. Pause your video and I will see you there. All right, so I made my last stitch and we're going to slip to join and go ahead and cut that yarn. And fasten off by pulling it through. And then you're just going to simply weave in your tail and you have got your nice loop to hang that on. So here's my tapestry needle and we're going to weave this in. And my other piece was inside there, so you didn't have to weave that tail in. Of course, if you're making this on the first round and you're watching it first, I should have told you to stop and you can weave that other tail in before you sew this through, but I didn't do that. Sorry. But anyway, so you can fish this through and pull your tail in there, go through another stitch and come back up. Make it secure. Go around a few stitches to reinforce it. I like to make sure joins like this have a little bit more sturdiness to them, since they're going to hold some weight. It's not going to hold much weight though. There you go. And then you can actually tuck this tail on the inside and cut your yarn. And when you cut it, it'll hide that tail if it pops back in. There we go. Our nice classic thick pot holder crocheted. I hope you enjoyed making this today on our tutorial. Please click down below and check out the other videos we have on our channel and make a comment. I'd love to hear from you today. Have a great day and happy crochet. Bye everyone. Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.